Come on, let's get this cracking.
Can you picture this? Right there, good looking, baby. See why I got another one. I see y'all. Yeah. Can you picture this? You know, rocking with CYPT. Podcast of the D with Clay and the crew. It's like my CTV. They be giving game out so much, you could take the same route. Especially if you take risks, this YouTube, you make sense.
Yo, what up, though? You're listening to the CYPT podcast, the podcast of the strongest, fastest, most powerful print shop on this side of the Eastern Seaboard. I'm just Niles.
It's your boy Lance behind the camera.
I'm Clay, and we got a super special
No,
guest
you don't.
here.
I'm just tired.
A super special guest here.
It's just
Who
Ty.
is this guy?
Hey, man,
Let
this-
me know. I know you was gonna say it's just Ty.
It's just Ty. This family here, man. So I mean,
Let everybody know who
this
you are.
this is long overdue, right? We're supposed to have
Right.
been done this,
Right.
you know. And I know when every time I say I'm gonna do it, when I leave, y'all be like, he ain't coming. I know that's what y'all used to do.
Yeah.
But we here now. Just Ty Mopkins.
So
Look up there. Ty Mopkins.
take me back to. I'm trying to find out who is this guy. I always wanted to. When I met you, I was like, I see this guy with all these famous people and on Instagram, and you know, you with a lot of big names and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
but you see me way before that, though, Clay.
Yeah, but I never knew.
I know it's a podcast. Y'all got to make it look good.
I
and
never
all
knew.
that.
I never knew it to
I
that
mean,
extent. Let's go back. Let's go back to
Right, way back,
way back.
like in mid '90s,
So,
late '90s. Go ahead.
Ty, what is your job description now? What do you do now? And then we're gonna go back.
Right now, I'm the creative director for Starter Apparel, Footwear. I kind of got a collection that I do every year with Starter that we've been doing for the past. Actually, this is our 8th year doing it now. So it started off with Mr. Allen's, and now we're doing stuff with Footlocker and the Detroit Pistons and a couple other surprises we got coming soon. So that, and then just got on board where, you know, I'm doing stuff with Pony now. So I'm trying to revamp and relaunch the old school Pony brand. That was very near and dear to a lot of our hearts here in Detroit.
Okay.
So what I like to do is go back and go back into history, right, where everybody talk about back in the day. So my thing is, I lived through a lot of this stuff, so it's easy for me to recreate, reprogram, and release these things again. So like how you got everybody talking about the culture, I'm more for heritage, because culture is just temporary.
Right.
Heritage is forever.
Right.
Wow.
You know, so with heritage, it still brings an emotional. It brings goosebumps. You know, and when I pull out a Starter jacket or when I pull out a pair of ponies, especially here in Detroit, you get a conversation going. It's like an all-day barbershop talk.
Okay.
Things like that. So, you know, and I also consult on the side, and I help people build their brands.
Right. So as creative director, like, what are some? Do you draw these jackets? Do you come up with these concepts yourself? Do you draw them out? Do you use a computer? How do you come up with these jackets and concepts and things like that?
I don't per se draw. I mean, with Starter, I have a great team there, and I tell them kind of like how when I come here to create stuff with you, I tell them how I want it, and y'all create the magic. So with Starter, I come up with a plan, and the one thing about Starter that's unique is that it's sports license. So in sports license, every year is an anniversary of something. Like sports license stuff would never play out because you got the streets and then you got the fans. So the fans will buy it all year round because it's what we call an emotional buy. So just like what you have on now, right? The Detroit Tiger pullover with the D on it, right? So you may not know one player that plays for the Tigers, but you know that D represents Detroit.
Right.
So you're wearing it for the city. You're not necessarily wearing it for the team. You're wearing it for the city. So that's the street version of it. But now the fan version of it, they wear it because it's stylish and it's sweet, and it gives them a sense of pride when it comes to their team. So, you know, you got two different levels. You got street and then you got team. So getting back to your original question was that I have a staff there. One of the guys I started off with, Danny Martinez, rest in peace, Danny. But now, you know, great guy, gone too soon. He was probably one of the greatest graphic and tech persons I've ever came across in my life. And he could do stuff in his sleep. So now we got my man Malcolm that's taking over the reins, or, you know, it's hard to fill Danny's shoes, but now Malcolm does it, and I just consult with him. I go to New York. I'm in New York a lot now, so I'm probably in New York maybe 2 weeks out of every month.
Right.
So I almost live there. So when I go in there, we just go into the lab. We like to call it the war room, and we go in there and we talk about what we're going to do. Like right now, I got stuff already baked to 2025. Wow. So I'm already ahead of what I'm doing. And so we just come up with these concepts because the reason why you got to plan so far ahead is because you're dealing with sports. So you're dealing with license. Now you got to deal with legal things, right? So a lot of things that I would like to do, I cannot do because the team or the league would not approve it. Mm-hmm. So that's why we're so far ahead in 2025. And that's why the stuff you see now, I was doing this in the pandemic. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So as creative director, when y'all all sit around in this boardroom, is it a lot of controversy or like, I want to do it like this, or no, I think we should do it like that, or not? How does that work out?
In the beginning, it was like that, and by no means am I arrogant or cocky and things like that. Right. But it's kind of like the handcuffs are off me now.
So you can pretty much
do what I want to do because I know the rules and the regulations. So when they know I'm in there, it's kind of like if Kobe would walk in the gym, you're not about to tell Kobe how to run a play. Mm-hmm. You're not about to tell Kobe to go practice. You're not about to do that. So, but I've earned that. It ain't like it was given to me now. Mm-hmm. Now, so it's not controversy at all. It's not. It's more like, oh man, here he come. Mm-hmm. About to cook. Here he come. And they know to stay out the way and just let me create. Mm-hmm. And I've been blessed to be in that predicament.
Okay. So now let's go back. Now we can take it back to the beginning where you was a child. Did you always have a fashion sense growing up? So you was one of the freshest kids in school.
Of course. I had to be fresh. I was mixed. So I had to get the attention off me being mixed. Mm-hmm. So I had to be fresh. So, and it all started on the 12,000 block of Roselawn. So if you know me, I always shout out several things. My street, my city, my schools. I'm very proud of the schools I went to, very proud of my city, and very proud of my block. So, just like you, we came up in an era where our first role models was drug dealers.
Exactly.
So when we wanted to know how to get fresh, we would see the drug dealers get dressed. And back in those days when we came up, we had Van Grack, Sergio Tacchini, we had Diodore, we had Lotto's, we had all these companies. Mm-hmm. And I grew up on the west side of Detroit. And during that time, YBI ran everything, exactly. Young Boys Incorporated. Yeah. So they would come out with the fresh Levi's, the Adidas suits, the Adidas Top 10, and things like that. So we used to think that was success. We didn't care about athletes and all that. We wanted to be like the hustlers and the drug dealers. Mm-hmm. And, so growing up on Roselawn, it was like a fashion show with all of us because we would see who would be the first one to get the top 10s or the Forms or the Concords, the Decades, Centennials, stuff like that. And then after that took a phase, that's when Fila came aboard. Mm-hmm. And, we had an acronym for Fila. Fila spelled F-I-L-A. But we said, finally, I'm leaving Adidas.
Right.
So that's what Fila meant to us. So we was the first one wearing the 105s, which was called the Dope Mans, was the Fila tennis shoe. Because that was actually the first $100 shoe in the hood.
Right. That was $105. $105. And they had the high tops for, what is that,
Which one?
$125.
What was it?
The Fila's.
The Fila tennis. Yeah. So if you Google it, it's called the Fila tennis. And it was the cream one with the red and blue stripe. And so that with the Fila velour suit, we used to call those the Philip Drummond suits because the only time we saw it was on different strokes when Philip Drummond used to wear it.
Right.
So, I tell anybody that if you like between 45 and 50, you came up in the best era ever. Like right now, no offense, but this is trash compared to what we grew up with. We came along with the best fashion, best music, all that. Because you gotta imagine this though, Clay. You gotta imagine this. When we came up on the tail end of Motown. Mm-hmm. We came up in the beginning of Motown. We came up with house music, techno. Right. So we caught all that waves when radio was the only way we can listen to new songs. Mm-hmm. Electrifying Mojo, Mason, all these guys. All so I tell anybody that our era was the best era that you can ever come up in. No offense to this era now, but You guys missed
As
out.
far as when you say the best era, are you talking about just strictly like fashion? I mean, because like in our era, it was like pummeled with drugs. I mean, but not saying it's not like that now. But there's a lot of drugs and things like that happening now. But at one point, I looked through my cell phone and when I was in high school, and I did not know anyone in there, male or female, that didn't sell drugs. Now, tell me, did you ever get caught up in the allure of that life and seeing like the big gold chains?
He's trying to get us indicted.
He
right?
said allure.
Right.
Allure.
He said it in a nice way.
Like you know.
Right. He was like, oh, by the way, did you ever?
Hey, too many years went by now. You Jay-Z did it too, so don't feel bad if you did. Allegedly.
So, you know, like
you could plead the fifth.
No. I mean, I sell fifths, but I mean, no. Like, you know, Biggie said, growing up in hood, either you had a wicked jump shot or you slang crack rock. So,
Right.
I mean, when you're 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, right? You didn't have a job that can pay what you needed to get paid to have these things.
Right.
So, okay, I'll leave it at that.
Leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
You had since we're talking about your childhood and things like that.
Was your question on the water bottle? Because you just looked at the water bottle.
No.
I'm like,
no,
wow,
no.
you dope.
No.
I'm like, wow, he looked at his water bottle. Yeah, Ty, where was you?
I like my father influenced me. He was a photographer, and that's how I began my journey down graphic design. Clay's father also influenced his art as well. I know that you said your father, he as far as style, you know, and what you were just talking about.
Y'all
he
did some
was
homework in here, huh?
You said he was always a stylish man. He couldn't even go to the grocery store without being nice. He said that your presence is what people see 1st, and then the conversation is what you have to back that up. So would you say, or how were there any other ways that he influenced your art to today?
So me and my dad, we had like a love-hate relationship.
Okay.
So meaning that, you know, he battled his demons, which was alcohol and all that. So, but he taught me a lot, right? So he taught me whatever he thought he was teaching me. So one of the things that he always said, like, listen, I don't care if you're going to the corner store. You get your butt in that tub, you take a shower and you get clean, and don't go out to these stores in no pajamas, house shoes, flip-flops, nothing like that. He said, because people judge you, and they do. And it still sticks with me to this day. People judge you how you look.
Right, they do.
They do, because they like, oh, okay, yeah. Especially now, right? Especially now. So I have this aura on me that it's no way I can go out looking bummy.
Right.
But I love wearing hoodies, sweatshirts, basketball shorts.
Like being cozy.
That's me. I don't have to dress up. My dad was a dresser. My dad was
The gators,
lizards,
and stuff like that.
all that stuff. Slacks. That was it. The only time I seen my dad in a pair of gym shoes is when I bought them for him.
Okay.
If he was buying his shoes, it was Stacey Adams, Ben B. Burks, stuff like that. So he wasn't wearing gym shoes. So just like how most of the men was doing in the 70s and 80s, right? They got dressed. That's what they did. So, yeah. My dad was a heavy influence on me when it came to dressing and how to. And one thing my dad did that I do to this day still, right? I don't care how tired I am. I don't care how sleepy I am. I always make sure I got the next day's outfit already hanging up.
Still
to this day.
It makes life a lot easier.
Still
when
to
you
this
do it
day.
like that.
You do it too?
No. So before I go to bed at night, my outfit for that next day is already laid out. What I'm gonna wear.
Yeah. So when you get up, you just
Get in the shower and shave and
put
get
it
everything going, and you got it ready right there. Another thing he taught me too that I do too is that I always pack 2 or 3 days before I go out of town.
Well,
Yeah. So if I'm
you
leaving,
never last minute pack?
no, not at all.
so you ready.
Such discipline.
My bag is already packed. Like if I'm going out of town Sunday, my bag is packed and done Friday. With everything I need, everything to the side, everything I need.
So
Yeah.
as a kid growing up, a lot of us had like paper routes and things like that.
I had a paper route.
You had a paper route?
You had a paper route.
That was the cover up. I had a paper route.
That was the what?
I had a paper route.
Another one.
Wait a minute. I was talking about like 10, 11. I know you wasn't.
He was.
No, 13, 14, I had paper route. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so like 10, 11, did you have any hustles like growing up selling candy or anything like that? I'm just trying to figure out where this entrepreneurship mindset first start to set in.
So 10 and 11 years old, I was hustling bags at supermarket. The supermarket by our house was called Home Pride. So, during those days, you would stand up there, and it wasn't like how it is now where you can push your buggy to the car. Mm-hmm. So, the neighborhood stores, right? The neighborhood grocery store, you'd be locked in the gate.
Right.
So when it'd be like a bunch of people coming in, and I always know that the 1st and the 15th, right? So that's when people get, food stamps and things like that. I would know to go up there and hustle bags. Like, hey, you need some help carrying your bags to the car? And they were like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. And sometimes they give you like $1 food stamp. They give you 50 cents, things like that. So 10, 11, 12 years old, that's what I was doing. Okay. I was hustling groceries, carrying stuff to bags, or especially if they stayed around in the neighborhood, we would carry the bags to the house. And then, I don't know if y'all remember this, though, but when people didn't have cars and they had a lot of groceries and you ride, they had these things called jitneys. Right. Yeah. So we used to ride with the jitneys.
Okay.
And the jitneys used to be elderly men. So they didn't want to get out the car. They just wanted to drive. And
were these like taxis? What's the jitney?
Well, you know what? Jitneys was the first Uber.
Yeah.
Uber and Lyft.
Uber and Lyft back in our day.
Because they would drive their personal car.
Right.
Yeah, they would drive their personal car. So we would go there and then, ride with them, and then we carry the purse out. We carry it out to the house and all that stuff, and then they'll take care of you, and then the jitney will take care of you as well too.
Okay, so now as you get a little older, moving up in the ranks, did you have a real like the Detroit newspaper out, or because okay,
yeah,
what blocks were you delivering the paper?
So strategically, right? I didn't want in my neighborhood.
Okay.
I wanted to go out in other neighborhoods because I wanted to see girls. Okay. I really got the paper out to meet girls and do things like that. And also,
genius.
Well, so I would do over across the bridge about where I went to middle school at. And I was cool with that because I went to elementary and middle school at the Great Tappan Middle School.
Tappan, that's elementary?
Elementary and middle.
Oh, it was both.
Yeah, well, it was both.
Okay.
It was both. So I would go over there. And then by that time, I got caught up in doing, other stuff too. So, it would give me an excuse to be not in our hood, but be in somebody else's hood, where my mom and dad wouldn't even know. They would think I was on my paper route, but I really was on a paper route.
What type of student were you in school?
I was decent. Honest. No, I was decent.
A's and B's, C's and D's.
You know what? My right hand to my mom. My right hand to my mom's grave. I never got a D or E or a F.
Okay.
Never.
What about citizenship?
Citizenship? No, because I talked a lot.
So you was getting those threes?
No, I was twos, because I was class clown.
Okay.
Yeah, I was class clown a lot of I was just if you sat next to me, you weren't gonna get no work done.
So would you consider yourself now as a introvert or extrovert? Because I like when I first met you, I kind of got the vibe that you were like an introvert. But then as I met you and see you, you out and about, it's like you're an extrovert. So it's like you got to mix.
Well, I guess I got to adapt. Well, put it like this, right? And it's the honest God truth. I can adapt to any situation. So I done been on the block, on Roselawn, sitting somewhere I ain't got no business sitting at, right?
Right.
Leave there, go to the airport, fly all the way to Portland, Oregon, and sit in a Nike meeting the same day.
Yep.
So I can adapt to any situation. And the thing is, I don't get caught up in the Detroit hype or nothing like that, like so many people do. So if you see me somewhere, it got to be a purpose for me being there. I'm not about to hang out to be seen. I done that. I done that in the early 2000s.
Okay,
so
is that what you meant by the Detroit hype?
Yeah, I was wondering.
I was going to ask you what you meant by that.
So you hang out though, right? You go to clubs.
If I mess with you,
what gave you the impression you was an introvert?
If I met you, put it like this, and I'm trying to keep it clean, right? I'm trying to keep it clean. But if I mess with you,
yeah,
you know it because I'm gonna show up at your event and things like that. I'd rather be at home in my man cave. That's where I'd rather be.
Or you don't see him out at the club.
No,
talking big mouth.
No,
but he do what he do when he do his thing though.
I don't think.
No, you're not about to see me with the jewelry. You're not about to see me with the Cardis on. I done been there, done that. Right.
I would consider you a people person, though. You definitely carry conversation.
I'm very people.
He's a people person.
I'm very that, but it's select people.
Yeah,
it's select people.
Yeah, because when I first I met you a couple of times before I met you. I just seen you out and about, and then this is going later on in the story. I will tell you how we met, but I met you like a few times before I met you, and you just seemed really calm and reserved. So that's why.
See, like with this, right? Like, and no offense to nobody. My DMs is filled up with requests to do podcasts every day. If I was to answer everybody's thing, 3 weeks of my life will be doing podcasts, right? And I got to explain to them, like, listen, I just don't do that like that. So, but with y'all family, right?
Right.
So this is I don't look at this as a podcast. I look at this as
we just kicking it.
We just kicking it. Just like how I would do any other day if I come up here. I spend hours up here.
Right.
Just talking.
It's
just that the mics is on, the cameras is on, and everything else is like that.
Yeah.
But I run away from attention.
Yeah. See?
I run away from it. I run away from it.
That's what I was.
I run away from the things so many people run to.
Yeah.
I'm cool. Just let me be Ty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we get out out of the paper route about what 15, 16. Probably
when I started high school. Yeah.
What are we doing? Yeah. What are we doing now?
So now I'm actually working inside of the supermarket, right? So I'm learning. That's where I think I got probably the most business savvy, because one thing about me, if I work somewhere, if I go somewhere, I'm going to learn everything about the business, how it's ran, what time the lights come on, what time the lights go off, percentages, real estate, where can we move this to make this amount of money at, things like that. So I started working in a supermarket, Home Pride, the same supermarket.
So bagging groceries, stocking shelf, or cash register, all that.
Back in those days, when you was working for like an independent mom and pop grocery stores, you did everything. You swept, you mopped, you stocked, you did everything. And so I learned how to run a business. My first time was at Home Pride. I learned how to run a business because they saw the hustle and the drive and the motivation. And it's funny because I saw my mom when my mom passed in 21, we had to go clean out her house, her apartment. And she kept my first paycheck stub.
Really?
Well, yeah. Way back. And I saw how much I made. And it was like, and this was for 40 hours. Back then, minimum wage was like $4 an hour.
Right. What was that number?
Maybe like $85?
Yeah.
So I was busting my butt.
Jesus Christ.
For
but
pennies.
$85 was a lot of money back then, right? Yeah.
For most.
As a kid.
Well, for most, because let me tell you why. You got to imagine what I just told you I was doing before that.
Right.
So $85 was like 15 minutes worth of work for me back out in the street.
Yeah.
So it really was, me just locking in and just doing the right thing. So
I was going to ask why I even do it. It's just.
What, the job?
Yeah.
Or the street?
No, the job.
Well, because you know what?
What was the point?
Because you know what? I think, no, I'm not going to say I think, I know. So during that time, was the first time I started losing friends when I was 14 years old, like getting killed.
Yeah,
getting killed, like murdered on our block. Like I done been in a lot of things I shouldn't have to be in, but that's what you get when you grow up in that environment.
Right.
So, 15 years old, going to funerals, seeing your friends in caskets do something to you mentally.
I bet.
So, I said, you know what? Let me pull back from this and let me try the job thing. By that time, I was in high school anyway. So I went to the great Detroit Southwestern High School. Everything I say I do, I say D great.
Right.
Because it is the greatest middle school ever, the greatest high school of all time. So, so now, see, it's so much stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna double back because I really was supposed to go to McKenzie.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you wasn't going to Southwestern. What school? If you got suspended,
I
like,
really-
where would you pick? Where would you want to go as far as high school?
Mackenzie, for
you
sure.
would want to go to Mackenzie.
For sure, Mackenzie. So let me tell you this. So in my middle school days, I was in the band, right?
Playing what instrument?
Drum, snare drum. I was drum captain and all that, man.
You
Come
still
on, man.
got skills?
Oh, come on, dog.
Never lose it.
Never.
You can beat on
never.
the table now.
Never. I knew all that. So with that, so when you went to tapping, right? It's either two high schools you was going to go to. It was either two high schools you was going to go to, right? You was going to go to Murray Wright, or you wanted to go to tapping, because at the time, those was the two schools that had the best high school bands.
Okay.
So, you know, the late great Dr. Bobby Brown was the band director at Mackenzie, and he used to be the band director at Tapping. So he would always come to Tapping and get recruits and all that. And you know, 9 times out of 10, if you went to Mackenzie, being in the band, you was gonna get a scholarship. Whether it's gonna be to Southern, whether it's gonna be to Arkansas State, whether it's gonna be to Tennessee State, because he was a feeder for black colleges when it came to marching band. Even to this day, like it is no experience like the black college marching band.
Right.
So I just knew I was going to Mackenzie, man. But my mom, man, golly, she didn't want me to go to Mackenzie because all my neighborhood friends was going there, and she thought I was going to not do good in school and just mess around because I was clowning in middle school. Mm-hmm. So one of her best friends was like a sister to her. She lived in Southwest Detroit. And, you know, during that time, you have to have an address, and you have to stay in that district.
Right.
For you to go to school.
For you to go to that school.
Yeah, for you to go to that school. So, just hold on. I'm gonna get to that. You know what kills me is like when you go on live and people see you on live and they still try to call. Like, I'm gonna stop this to answer the phone. No. So I'm on live right now, right?
No.
And people are calling, right? But I just saw them get on live with me, so they figure, oh yeah, he's gonna stop. And so, so I practiced all that summer with Mackenzie, right?
Right.
Had the uniform and all that. I was ready, lock, stock. I was about to be a Mackenzie Stag. So when it was time to go to school, maybe like a week before then, my mom was like, well, you know you're going to Southwestern. And I have never heard of Southwestern in my life. I never knew Southwestern existed. Never knew it. I could, if somebody had a gun to my head and be like, yo, tell me what street Southwestern is on, or you're going to get popped.
You wouldn't even know.
I would have got popped.
You wouldn't even know the school colors.
I wouldn't know the school colors, right? That's absolutely true. So I was like, well, Mom, you know, I've been practicing all this summer with Mackenzie. You know, I got the uniform in my room. You know, we doing this and doing that. And they, you know, she was like, well, okay. So if you want to go to Mackenzie, okay. If you're doing this, we're going to go. By that time, if you don't sign up for a certain time, the school gets fooled up.
Right, exactly. He was trying to hold out.
And so we waited too long. She went to enroll me, and Mackenzie was filled up to the T. They was like, well, your other choice would be Northwestern or Mumford. And no disrespect to those schools, but I wasn't about to do that, right? So I was like, all right, we'll get Southwestern to try.
So in hindsight, looking back, are you glad you went to Southwestern?
Oh, great. Yeah. The greatest thing that ever happened to me was to go to Southwestern High School. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. And we'll get into that why.
Okay.
So back, I used to have to get up at 5 o'clock every morning.
For what?
Cause I had to go to school or way across on the other side of town. You gotta remember, I stayed 3 blocks from Mackenzie.
So how many miles was Southwestern from where you were?
It was 2 buses I had to catch.
Oh my God.
So I used to have to catch the Grand River bus. First of all, I had to walk to Grand River. Then I used to have to wait till the Grand River bus coming. Then I used to catch the Livernois bus. And the Livernois bus was like a 25-minute ride.
I know you got checked in.
No, listen.
As fresh as you was.
No, that's the one thing. Knock on wood. Well, not. But I have got checked in before.
Oh, but not going to school.
Not going to school. No.
Okay.
No.
I did.
No. Not going to school. So here I am. I got to get up at 5 a.m. just to be out the house by 6, because then it takes you about 10 minutes to walk to Grand River, Grand River and Oakman. So I had to wait for the Grand River bus to come. To take me to Livernois, Grand River Livernois, where the 6:45 Livernois bus will come.
We're talking about Detroit winter.
I'm talking about Detroit winter. Yes. 4 years. Yes. So I would have to catch the bus, get there, right? If I'm running late, I would have to catch a cab to Grand River and Livernois, just so I won't miss the 6:45 Livernois bus to go to Southwestern. So, yeah, I did that. Yeah. So that, and then I was a freshman. So back in those days, you had to schedule. Like I had a 1 to 8. So 1 to 8, you get out at 3:15. So it'll be almost 6 o'clock by the time I get home, because at a certain time, the 4th Street bus that I used to have to catch, right, ran once every hour. Then the Livernois bus once every hour.
I was gonna say the Livernois bus.
So you did that all through high school? You never got like
Yeah.
a car like in the 12th grade or anything like that?
No.
So high school, let's go back after high school. Where do you work after that? After the grocery store? Well, yeah, I think we stopped at the grocery store.
That's when I went back.
And how did you leave the grocery store? You ever got fired?
No, I never got fired.
Never got fired from any job?
I've never got fired from any job.
Okay, so
I've always was a hard act to follow. So I was always, no. I never got fired.
Okay,
Never.
so you leave the grocery store and then do what?
Started going on the grown man paper route.
Okay, for how many years?
Maybe 3.
3. And did you catch it? Like, what made you stop? Like, just I know you were saying like a lot of your homeboys, getting knocked off. Is it one particular thing that you say, you know what, it's it?
Well, by that time, I met a young lady that later became my wife, and then we had a son, which is my son, TJ. So her sister was dating this guy, and this guy, his name is Calvin Hamlin. My sister Carla was dating the guy Calvin Hamlin. So Calvin Hamlin came from the Hamlin family that owns Strictly Sportswear.
Oh,
so
I was wondering how you got in there.
Oh yeah. So back in those days, if you know anything about Strictly Sportswear, like everybody shopped there.
Everybody shopped.
When people came in from out of town, they left the airport and went straight to Strictly.
Yeah, all the superstars went there.
Right.
Yeah. They went straight.
I don't know anything about it. So what was it like? What was the experience of shopping at Strictly Sports?
Well, okay. So this is what happened, right? So I would come over there and see my son's mom, and Calvin would always say, "Man, you fresh, man. Where you get your clothes from?" and all that stuff. And I wasn't really shopping at Strictly like that. I would go there every once in a while, but I would always go downtown to J.L. Stone. Remember J.L. Stone?
J.L. Stone. I remember J.L. Stone.
The Broadway. And then across the street from J.L. Stone, it used to be Sherman's.
Yeah.
Remember Sherman's?
Yeah, I remember
Sherman's. So I would be shopping there, or I would go out to Northland, Fairland. I go to Oak Tree, Man Oh Man, things like that. And he was like, man, you put it together, man. You ever thought about working in a store or something like that? And I said, you know what? I really was thinking about it. I want to do it. And so he gave me a chance, and then I met his mom, the late great Dorothy Hamlin, and she took me in like I was one of her sons. And once again, I went into a business where I learned the business from the beginning to the end.
So you were working with Kathy's mom.
Yeah. Kathy was there too.
Oh, Kathy,
but the mom was there. The mom was there every day, all day. So and she would groom me. Like she would say, "Hey, you gotta do this and do that." And I just didn't go in there. I just didn't go in there being the man.
Right.
I used to have to sweep the streets.
Mm-hmm.
I used to, and they own from just like that.
Like Turbo.
Yeah. So and they own corner to corner.
Right.
They own the whole block. Mm-hmm. So I'm out there for the first couple hours a day just sweeping. I had to earn my way into the store to sell.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't
wax on, wax off.
Yeah, you had to earn it because they had so many people working there because they had so much business and clientele.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I did that, then I became stock, right? So I would have to be the one that had the merchandise. And this is where me working at Home Pride came into the picture, where I learned how to stock, rotate, where to put certain things at, like everything in the business, right? And you know this. Every square foot of your business had to count for some type of revenue.
Exactly.
It has to count for some type of revenue, or it's just wasted space. So that's why you go inside some people's stores and everything is jammed up together because they got to make accountability for that square footage.
Right.
So when I finally got in, right, I learned how to put outfits together, which was easy because I was always dressed. So I moved up there, and then I spent probably about a year on the sales floor, and I became one of the top salesmen. Where the point where everybody was calling me, and then we had this payphone inside the store, right? And we used to call it the bat phone. So they would call the bat phone, yo, what time? Hey man, put me together like 4 or 5 outfits. And this was the time when money was great, right? Mm-hmm. Money was great. And it wasn't a party every day like how it is now, right? It was events. So you had like Soul Night, you had the Easter Hair Show, you had all this stuff. You had so much events going on. Then on Wednesday nights you had floods. People would go to floods on Wednesday. Well, really what would happen is Wednesday they would go to the Blue Note or Chuck's. Yeah. Spend a couple hours there, and then they would go down to floods. Or then on Monday nights you had Bobby G's.
Yeah, it was somewhere to go every night of the week. That's what I was telling you.
And it wasn't really clubs.
He does say that. Yeah. He said it's not the weekend night. It was every night.
And it wasn't and the thing is, it wasn't clubs, it was local bars.
Right. And you would run over to Strictly's,
put
you an outfit together.
Yeah.
And gone. Didn't care about the price because
he does say that. He says we be talking about the weekend. He said no, it used to be every.
So some Mondays was liver than Saturdays.
Mondays. Yeah.
You would go to Bobby G's on the west side, and then we ain't even talking about the east side where you go to Rados, Timbo's, UBQs, all that stuff. Yeah. Detroit, and it was money everywhere. Nobody was really hating on people. Nobody was, everybody had their little crew, and everybody was getting money, and everybody was fresh. Like you have guys that would come in and buy their whole crew outfits that'd be like a $10,000 sale. Cause
just like you saw on BMF, that really happened. That's how they got down.
That is no lie. Like
it was like that.
Put it like this, and no disrespect to Power and nothing like that. I love 50 and all that, right?
Right.
Some of that stuff is not believable. But I can tell you for a fact.
Some of it.
Some in Power?
Yeah.
Some of it is like, come on now, this really ain't happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything you've seen so far in BMF
is right.
Is
right on target.
Is right.
Okay.
So, and so imagine a city like that. And this was the time we had about 1 million people here. I mean, I'm telling you, Detroit, I'm trying not to talk too much, but.
So after Strictly, how many years did you
work at Strictly?
Yeah.
So 5. So I started like mid 94, and I left like towards the end of 99 because during that time, even though like Strictly Sportswear gave me my start, I went as high as you can go with them because it's a family store, right?
Right.
I never was going to be an owner. I never was going to be a partner, and I totally get it. Mm-hmm. So during this time, my name really started bubbling when it came in the industry about buying and, if you need your line break, you need to talk to Ty because Ty know how to break lines, how to break brands, do this and do that. You got to imagine, at this time, I came up in the era of what they call streetwear phase, right? So you had Karl Kani, you had Maurice Malone, you had Fubu, you had Willie Esco. So you had all these companies that was coming out, and streetwear ran the industry. Guess, Girbaud, all these companies, right? Wow. So then being at Strictly, you got to imagine too, so for instance, right? We would be the only store on Christmas Eve open 24 hours.
Oh yeah. Kathy didn't play.
We open 24 hours.
Get that money. 24 hours.
24 hours.
Christmas Eve. And Christmas Day. Was it Christmas Day?
So listen.
Christmas Day.
So listen. This is
you can get it out on Christmas Day.
This is the honest to God truth. I'm not making this up. We would go in there 10 o'clock Christmas Eve morning, right?
Right.
We wouldn't leave there till almost 6 a.m. Christmas morning just to go home, to take a shower, change clothes, and come back by 8 o'clock Christmas Day, and then close at 6.
Yeah.
Now you talking, right? In those 2 days, you talking mid 6 figures we was making that day.
What year was this?
This had to be this was from 95 to 99.
No deals were given out.
No deals was given, nothing.
You paid with the tag.
Oh, I'm sure.
You paid what the tag said from the manufacturer.
Oh, what?
Said you should manufacture suggested retail price.
Yes.
That's what you paid.
I'm sure.
But back in those days, people wasn't asking for discounts.
No.
Because the money was there. Like, I really want to meet the first person to ever say, hey, how much I can get this for?
I know.
I want to meet that person. But no, we would stay busy. We would have, when it started getting dark, we had the floodlights outside. The news would come there and do stories about it and all that stuff. So you talking mid six figures.
Where was the store? Where was Strickland's?
7 Mile and Archdale.
7 Mile and Archdale, yeah.
Right there, right between Greenfield and Southfield.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you, I've been talking to Kathy for years, right? We need to do a documentary on Strictly Sportswear. Now that need to be on Tubi.
Oh, yeah.
Strictly.
What?
Yeah.
Everybody who's everybody's has been inside Strictly. From 95 to 2000, anybody who's anybody was there.
Right.
And
she's still there.
And she's still there to this day.
Still there, going strong to this day.
40 plus years.
Yes.
Yes. Kathy Hamlin and her brother Calvin still holding it down. So, you know, with that, like I was saying, so I kind of grew where it was like they couldn't give me what I really wanted now, my worth really, and it was a hard decision. And then when I talked to Miss Hamlin, she would be like, "Baby, you know, if you want to start your own, go ahead."
So that's what you did.
And that's what I did. That's when I started Hip Hop University.
Hip Hop, me
and Primus.
You was a partner, you
Yeah,
and
Primus.
right? Okay, and that was over there off of Illinois, right? That was your first store.
No.
Tell me what it was.
So listening to Primus, right? Because that's my guy.
Right.
That's my brother. So listening to Primus, he had this idea where it's like, man, we shouldn't open up in the city, man. It's going to be too crowded. We can't be doing this and doing that. So he came up with the aha plan. Let's go open up in Pontiac.
Whoa.
I wish I had a thing where he's like, what? Whoa. So, yeah, we went to Pontiac. We lost bad. Because everybody from Pontiac was coming to Detroit.
So where did you get this startup capital from? It wasn't from Strictly's.
No, it wasn't from Strictly.
It was from the
saving, and then you know.
Okay,
you asking too many. You asking
the newspaper
right? The
newspaper.
You asking too many. You asking too many federal questions right now.
This is not federal.
Because it's cats out here. Listen,
there's cats out here want to do the same thing.
I have never been on a podcast. People asking you about finances so much.
I asked you the finance questions. That I asked you the tough hard questions.
Everybody on my Instagram saying. Like he the feds, he asks a lot of personal.
I really because you know people want to know like how do they do that? So they
save your money, man. Save your money.
Save your money. Okay.
Save your money.
We're just gonna keep it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I mean, you could have got a loan, anything.
And they wasn't giving us no loans back in those days.
Could have been one of the.
We wasn't butting up like that, man.
The YBI guys.
We was see there you go again. See you see what I'm saying?
So things didn't go well in Pontiac.
Right. Thank you.
Things didn't go okay.
Right,
So,
it didn't go.
They can't go back. They can't come back and get you. Don't worry about it. So anyway,
that's how they get
you.
You
eventually had a store in Illinois.
So okay, we about to come.
Go. Let's go to after Pontiac. So how long did you were you up in Pontiac?
Too long.
Maybe 8 months.
8 months.
Maybe 8 months.
Grand opening, grand closing.
Yeah, because we had to break the lease because we assigned a year lease.
Okay.
So luckily we broke that, right? And we had the store in Pontiac, man. We probably had maybe $250,000 merchandise on the floor. Didn't sell maybe $5,000 worth of stuff. And you know, people would be like, Ty, man, you know I mess with you, man. I come mess with you, but man, why am I come way up to Pontiac for when I can just go?
What did you learn from that?
Don't listen to everybody. Do what you feel in your gut. And
so you knew it might not have been the best idea.
I knew because it's like you taking the star out of his environment, right?
Right.
Where the people can't get to him. But then you take them 40 minutes outside of there, right? And it's just, yeah. So then we had to tuck our tail underneath our, and then we went, and that's when we opened up on Livernois and Ewald Circle, which was my old neighborhood.
Immediately?
Well, after 8 months, yeah. Well, no.
So it was just like, close, let's go over here, or did you have a hiatus?
No, close on a Friday. We was open on Livernois that Monday.
Okay.
Because what was going on was we was fixing Livernois up while we still was in Pontiac.
Okay.
So we just told the owner of the building in Pontiac, listen, we ain't got no money. We about to go bankrupt. So if you want to keep these clothes as collateral, whatever you want to do, let us know. But we got to break the lease. And so he didn't want to keep the clothes, nothing like that. He broke the lease because, he had somebody else that probably wanted the building anyway. So it was a blessing that, we didn't get sued or anything for breaking the lease and things like that. So
God closes the door, opens a window.
Yeah. So this was a hell of a window.
So how was the store? How was the store doing over there when you first opened it? Was it making money like right off the bat?
Livernois?
On Livernois?
So now we're talking 2000, 2001. That's when the throwback jersey phrase came.
Oh yeah, okay.
So this is what happened, right? So this is how I met.
Big money come in.
So listen, it gets worse. It gets worse. So we didn't have, back in those days, Mitchell & Ness was the hottest thing out. It was throwback jerseys. So we didn't have a Mitchell & Ness account. So what we would do, and I hate I'm about to say this now, right? We would drive to Philadelphia and go to the Mitchell & Ness flagship store and maybe go buy $10,000 to $15,000 worth of jerseys at retail.
So these jerseys was costing what?
$350, $400.
But you buying them at what, $150?
I'm buying them at $300 and $400.
So they was retailing for $600.
Yeah. So we would bring them back here and double, but you couldn't get Mitchell & Ness jerseys from nowhere else here in Detroit.
I remember Sports Zone also had.
Vetting them, vet. So we would go there, come back, get a room. Get up that next morning, go buy the stuff, have them box it up, and bring it back to Detroit. So now, we known in the hood for having the throwback jerseys, right? So we banging them, right? We selling jerseys $550, $600.
These are $600 jerseys.
$600 jerseys.
Not a thing.
It's not it. Jay-Z wearing it, Outkast wearing it, Fab wearing it.
They'll take 3 of them.
Huh?
He said they'll take 3 of them.
Oh, what? Yeah, give me that one. Especially because put it like this. Especially if Fab had on one, it was a wrap. Yeah. If Jay had on one, it's a wrap. If Big Boy and all them, whoever had one on, was a wrap. And if we knew it was a dope one, we would charge like $700 for it. Mm-hmm. And they would buy it because, once again, the money was so good and you couldn't get Mitchell & Ness anywhere. They didn't have an account. So, word got out that we had it. Then we started getting broken into.
Yeah. They was coming through the roof, huh?
Listen, they came through the roof. Yeah. Took a van, came right through the front door with a van. So we would get the roll down shutters and the poles in the front of the store where they couldn't come in like that, right? They would break into the check and go next door to come through the wall of check and go to come to our store. Yeah. And as a business owner, after 3 or 4 break-ins,
insurance dropping you and it's a wrap.
You're done. You're by yourself.
You're by yourself.
So we were hot, right? Because during that time, Primus was with JLB, so he was an account sales rep. So we were always sponsored. Back in those days, they had Old School Sunday at the River Rock. So we was always sponsoring stuff. We were sponsoring concerts. When people would come to town, they would stop by Hip Hop University, and things like that. And then before Instagram, we would have these things called street team flyers. So you had to go out to the events and pass out stuff. Right. So we would be the guys that would go to the club 20, 30 deep in the club, all wearing throwback jerseys because that was the way we was promoting them and getting things like that.
That's advertisement.
Yeah, and because you got a lot, it was a lot of us.
That's advertisement.
But there was a lot of money being spent too because we had to buy bottles and things like that. But that's how you got known. That's how you did marketing. It wasn't Instagram. It wasn't I couldn't make a post and press it and everybody see it and then they come mess with you.
You had to do the footwork.
What? So you're talking about a lot of drinking, a lot of smoking. I don't smoke, but a lot of smoking. And, that's when I was going through my my out here phase. So And I think that's why I don't hang out here like how I do now, because I'm tired. I'm tired. I done it. I did it better.
So
I done it and did it better.
How many years before the thieves took you out? How long was that run?
Man, we was bobbing and weaving for almost a year.
A year.
Like scrapping everything together and just trying to get everything going. So, then we said, okay, we're going to move from here and we're going to go to Northland.
Yeah, okay. I remember that.
So we went to, listen, I don't know how Primus and them worked out the Northland deal, but we was doomed before we even started, right? So this is one of the scenarios where it's like God's probably up there like, stop.
Just stop.
I'm doing this for a reason, to break y'all up.
Because I didn't remember you at Northland. I did remember Primus. I didn't see you at Northland as much. It might have been.
Well, I'm gonna get into that why.
Okay.
I'm gonna get into that why. So this was 2003. So
That was a good year.
yeah, so 2003. So that's when I had my bout with depression and anxiety and things like that, because everything around me was falling apart. Everything around me was falling apart. Finances, romances, everything you can find. And then the failed business and all that. And it just got a hold of me where I was like, you know what, man, I ain't about to go up in that store, because your whole motivation is gone. Like, we went from a $500,000 a year business, right? $500,000 a year to nothing, because we couldn't get insurance to cover us. We couldn't get anything, because it came to a point where my dad and a couple other people used to have to spend the night in the store just so we wouldn't get broken into. And that wears on your mental as well, too, because at night you couldn't sleep, man. Listen, anywhere from like 2:30 to 4 o'clock in the morning, you're going to get a phone call from Detroit police or the alarm company. And so we actually went to the police station. We like, yo, if you see a pattern of this happening during this time,
do something.
And you know what they tell me? Well, that's the time our shift changed, so they know when to hit y'all.
They did their homework.
They did, right.
All the way.
That's what I'm, and so you go from a $500,000 a year business, right? And we talking in 2000, 2001, 2002, right? And $500,000 is a lot of money today, but talking about now,
right?
You talking about back in those days, and we was in our early 30s, and we was making this type of money.
Yeah, that's like $1 million and a half.
Exactly.
Today.
So when Northland came, I just felt like it wasn't right. It just wasn't, because I'm like, listen, God is trying to tell us something, right? It ain't meant for us to do this, because everywhere we went, disaster after disaster after disaster. So, that's when the depression settled in. That's when the anxiety settled in, and I just played the back. I wasn't seeing as much.
So Primus was over there by himself.
Well, no.
Or was you partnered with him in the beginning? And then
Yeah. No. And to the very end.
Okay.
It's just that I lost motivation, because when I tell you we went over there with scraps, we went over there with maybe 20 jerseys. Yeah, and we would hope to flip those.
He was printing. I remember him printing silkscreen shirts.
Right. Try to sell.
Corey.
CDK. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. We would go over there with scraps, and I admit he fought to the end.
Yeah, he did.
He fought to the end. It's no knock on that. So it's like I had to step back, and then here I am, just 4 years removed from making great money at Strictly Sportswear. Should have stayed where I was at, right? But I took a chance and I took a leap. Then I started doing the hip hop university thing, and there was no way I could go back to Strictly. I didn't want to go back to Strictly.
So at Northland, I seen you back at Northland in another store. Am I going too far, or is it something in between there? Because I remember you at Northland inside of another store.
No.
That was that right after
that's
that?
That's coming. So it was with No Limits. So that's when the guy who ran No Limits was like, "Hey man, what you doing, man? I need a go-to guy that can help me build this business." At the time, where I met one of my best friends to this day. His name is Ali. So, you know, me and Ali talk all the time, you know, and everything like that. He's my lifetime friend forever. So I started doing the no limit thing with them, becoming the buyer, getting back into the swinging thing. Because for a while, I probably took like a year off of it, and I just went and just shut down completely. I went and just curled up into a dark spot, and nobody seen me.
What picked you up?
My mom, because watching her cry and wondering if she was going to lose me really did something. And it's funny, well, not funny, but it's ironic that just the other day was the 20-year anniversary of the blackout, right? So that's when that was my 20th anniversary when I blacked out. Because it happened.
Really?
It happened during when the blackout
Simultaneously.
happened when the blackout came. Happened when the blackout, where I really went into a psychiatric ward.
So just tell everybody what the blackout is. So in case
The blackout was something that happened in the Midwest and East Coast, where everything was off the grid, fried, no electricity, nothing.
How long was it? It was like a week or like
Some places it was a week, but I
like
think in
3
Detroit,
days.
in Detroit it was like 2.5, 3 days.
Yeah.
And it was hot. It was hot those days.
It was
As hell.
It was
No,
hot.
it was hot.
Right. So I'm going through this, right? To the point where I had to be in a room where I had security in the room just to make sure I wouldn't do nothing to myself. That's how worried they were. So I had to grow and go through that. And when I came out of it, it's like I just instantly snapped out of it. But I was lost, man. I was lost. And I don't mind telling it because I tell it so many times that help people. Because like when I tell the story, when I tell my story, I get my DMs filled up. Oh man, you helped me, man. I was going through this. I went and got help.
Man, hey, you always check on me as
Yeah,
soon as you call me,
yeah.
man. Hey, Clay, because you already you know the pressures and you just, hey, how you doing, man? You all right?
Mm-hmm. Get out of there. Go get some air.
Get
Go
some
walk.
air, man.
Yeah.
I know what you're going through. So
Yeah.
Well, not
Yeah, I
even the
appreciate
pressures of
that.
a business owner, but what would you tell someone who is going through a similar situation like that?
That you have to learn how to breathe and learn how to go through this stuff because it's a process. It's like when a person is gone mentally, it could really be a while before they even check back in because they don't even know they're gone. Like I didn't know I was gone. I didn't know. Man, I lost so much weight doing that. I wasn't myself. People thought I had it all, right? But I barely had it all together during that time. So I would just tell people, listen, man, seek the help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That's anybody. It's sinners here. And I think us as people, right, especially us as African Americans, right, we think of saying that as not being cool or scared. Somebody's like, man, that got crazy, man. Man, Clay done lost it. Clay over here tripping, dog. You see what he talking about? Instead of embracing him and saying, yo, how can we get you to help? How can we get this going, right? Mm-hmm. And so with that stuff, man, you just gotta you gotta grit and you gotta ball through it. Mm-hmm. And it's rough, man. It is rough, and it's rough on the people that love you too, because they got to see you like that. Especially when you're the main provider. Like my family only goes so far as I can take them, because I put that pressure on my back. You know, I do that. So, you know, for them to see that happen to me, it threw everybody in the loop because so many people depend on me. Everybody, you know, it's just for some reason people think I'm in the league. People think I'm in the NBA because I get pulled in so many directions. You know, cuz, bro.
And you just like, man, I'm just tired.
And that's why I tell people, man, I'm just tired. I'm tired and tired.
Right.
So you get you get pulled in so many directions, man. So, you know, I just tell it, you know. Now you have mental health facilities here, like my man David. So Dave got a great place in Farmington Hills, Michigan called Inceptions, and I still go there to this day because when I feel like the pressure coming up on me, I go there, and this is where I unwind mentally. So we just get everything going with that. So I say just get the help. Don't be afraid, man. Forget what anybody say, man. Go get the help.
Get the help.
Get the help.
So from out of No Limits, you go where?
That's when I had a stint at Puffer Reds in Ypsilanti.
Shoe stores. Puffer Reds.
Yeah, in Ypsilanti. So with the great Eric Williams. So he knew of me, and I knew of him, and we had a conversation. He said, "Man, I can use somebody like you because I'm trying to rebrand the store and get everything going. Because when Puffer Reds first opened up, they was a record store.
Okay,
that's all they was known for, selling records. Then he got a Nike contract, he got an Adidas contract. He started selling apparel and things like that. So."
Puffer Reds, that was located in Ypsilanti, right?
Yeah, on Michigan Avenue in Ypsilanti, like right around the block from Eastern Michigan University.
Okay.
So I learned so much more from Eric because once again he allowed me to be me. So now I'm getting into the sneaker game. So I'm going to Nike meetings, I'm going to Reebok meetings, I'm going to Adidas meetings, I'm doing all this stuff. And I'm starting to grow even more because now I'm going to these shows, and once again, I know everything it can be about sneakers.
Are you going solo or
no,
with him?
No, me and Eric, me and Eric,
okay.
and he's not holding me back. He's like, "Hey man, this is your show. Do what you got to do." And so I was with him for 4 years, and then that's when somebody came to me and was like, "Hey man, Mr. Allen's is looking for somebody to take over their brand." And I'm like, "Man, I'm straight, man. I ain't about to do no 29 or 2 for 50 stuff." Because, that's what it was. But in the meantime, I was tired of going to Ypsilanti every day. I wanted to come back home. Mm-hmm. I wanted to come back home. And it was still another store that just set up shop here in Detroit too, that came from Philadelphia. And they was approaching me as well too. And now I became like this talk of the industry, like, "Yo, y'all got to go get Ty. If y'all want to make it in Detroit, y'all got to get Ty. You got to get Ty. You got to get Ty. You got to get Ty." And during this time, I was still at Puffer Red. So people would try to call me and set up interviews and talk like that, and I wouldn't do that because I wouldn't disrespect Puffer Reds.
Right.
Because I wasn't interested in leaving. I wasn't. So I sat down and I really thought about this, and I said, "You know what? If I'm going to do this, I need to leave Puffer Reds and just be out here and take a risk to see what happens, right? To see what happens, because I'm not going to be that guy that work at Puffer Reds from 10 to 5 or 10 to 6 and then go have a secret meeting somewhere at 7 o'clock with another store. I'm not cut like that. I'm not going to do that.
Integrity.
Yeah, and but plus respect. So, and this guy has given me opportunity to get back in the game and even grow my name even national again. So I had a long talk with Eric, and I told him, I said, "Listen, I'd rather you hear it from me than hear it in the streets." I said, "It's some opportunities out there for me. So I feel like I need to step away because I don't want you to feel like I'm here, but mentally I'm not here.
Right.
Mentally I'm somewhere else, trying to go somewhere else." I said, "So before I'll do that, I'll give you my 2 weeks and just let me be and let me decide on what I want to do and concentrate on that." And he said, "I really respect you for saying that. That means a lot to me." And he said, "Go ahead." He said, "If it don't work out, you can always come back home." And that meant so much. So this is what I mean by saying that sometimes all you need to have is a conversation and not try to do no shady stuff. So I was upfront with him and I said, "Listen, I got these opportunities. I got to go see what it's worth." Because once again, being at a mom and pop store, 2-door operation, you only can go so far. Mm-hmm. You only can go so far. So I went as far as I can go at Puffer Reds. So he was like, "Hey man, I respect you for even coming to me saying this. Go do what you got to do. If it don't work out, you can come back home."
Okay.
And that meant even more to me, right? So I had the conversations with the stores in Philadelphia and things like that, but they wanted me to move. And it's ironic that Philadelphia, this won't be the first time that Philadelphia come up in my career and in stories. So I took the meeting with them, and then they wanted me to move to Philadelphia. That wasn't going to happen because during that time, I I just wasn't interested.
That was
in
where
leaving
the
Detroit.
headquarters was at?
That's where the headquarters was at. That's where the
So they wanted you to come to.
They wanted me to come to headquarters.
Headquarters.
Yeah. And so that's when I started taking the conversations with Mr. Allens. And I said, let me just go in here and just see what they're talking about. And at this time, Mr. Allens was growing. They were already they already was a staple here in Detroit, but they always was the butt of a joke.
Well, they had like 8 stores.
They had 8. They had yeah. They had 8. So it was the butt of a lot of jokes, like 29, 250, right? But once I got in and once I started going over books and seeing stuff, they made millions off of that.
Did you go in and try and change that narrative of the 29, 250? We're not doing that no more.
Well, you know what? During that time, the discount part of retail was playing out because you had Foreman Mills, you had Marshalls, you had Burlington Coat Factory. You had all these people that was already doing discount stuff, right? So they wanted to change the image of what was going on. And I would have conversations with Jacob, which was the son of the owner, Alan Bishop. And that really took almost 6 months to get me over there because they would come with an offer and I'd be like, yeah, no, that's straight. I'm cool. Then I would shoot them an offer. Then they say, well, we was thinking more like this. You know, it's negotiation, right?
Right.
Because you only got one time to negotiate your deal. You only got one time. That's it. You only got one time. Because once you agree to something, ain't no turning back. Ain't no like, oh, man, I should have asked this. I should have asked for that. I should have asked for this.
Or some hands are shook.
Right. Once the hand is shook and once the paperwork is dry, then that's what you got to go with. So you got to make sure you get everything that you asked for. And one of the things that I asked for was for me to be able to market myself too. Because, you know, the stuff I did with Mr. Allens, no other retailer would have let anybody do that. Meaning that it was more like how you see Morris Day in The Time or you see David Ruffin in The Temptations. It got to a point where it was Ty Mopkins and Mr. Allens. So I knew I wanted to brand myself because I knew I had an ace in the hole at this time with Starter. So we created something with Starter. I that's a whole other story too with Starter. So once I got my legs going with Starter, I said, you know what? We about to release these Starter jackets, and on the inside of it, you're gonna see Ty Mopkins on the inside. And I came up with the slogan, if it ain't a Ty Mopkins starter, your ass still on the bench. So that's why people used to come up to me and show me the inside of their jackets and be like, yo, I'm starting, I ain't on the bench.
How did you have that connection with Starter?
Well, and I'm glad you asked.
Okay.
Listen, let me get to it.
Okay, go ahead.
The people out here like, dog, he's getting to it.
Go ahead.
So
where we at?
Right. So years ago, I was real good friends with this designer. Her name is April Walker, and she had a clothing line, iconic hip hop clothing line called Walker Wear, not Rocker Wear, but Walker Wear. So people like Tupac and Biggie and all that used to wear her clothes. And so she was real cool with the president of Starter. His name is Carl Banks. So Carl Banks is from Flint, Michigan. He played at Michigan State University. He played in the NFL for the New York Giants, and he won some Super Bowls, things like that. So I saw a post that she did one day, and she had on this Beverly Hills Cop jacket, the Detroit Lions jacket.
Right.
And I said, yo, April, where you get that jacket from? I need it. One because I'm a Detroit Lions fan, diehard Detroit Lions fan, right? We're going to Super Bowl this year, so just know you heard that here first. And it was the iconic Beverly Hills Cop jacket, the one Eddie Murphy wore.
Right.
And I was like, yo, how can you get this jacket for me? Let me know how much I got to send you and all that stuff. And so she was like, well, just give me your address, and, you know, if I can get it, you got it. And so 3 or 4 days later come by, and I get something in the mail, and it's the jacket. And there's a card written out. Yo, thank you for, you know, taking notice of what we're doing over here. We're trying to relaunch stuff. We're trying to get everything going again. And, you know, anything you ever need from me, let me know. It's always good to support a fellow Michigander. And it was signed by Carl Banks. And so I told April, I said, yo, I need to talk to Carl. He's doing Starter. I got ideas. You know, Starter was big here in Detroit. How can we get some things going? So I had a conversation with Carl. And one thing led to another. We started talking and getting everything going. I was like, listen, I want to put out some starter jackets here in Detroit. I got the perfect place for it. And it was Mr. Allen's because they had the doors to support. See, this really can be like a 5-part interview with us because it can really go in the ins and outs of manufacturing, units, stuff like that.
You were designing the starter jackets at this point?
Yes. So I got my chance to do it, right, with Mr. Allen's.
Right.
And this was during the time, this was 2014, right? This was during the time when the sneaker phases was going crazy, where Nike and Jordan was releasing shoes like crazy, and you had people spending the night outside and doing things like that. I said, so how about if I took this concept and did it for this jacket? We put a release date on it. I do all the promo for it and get everything going. So it was cool for me to do it. And the first jacket I was going to do was a Detroit Lions jacket.
Okay.
Because during that time, I had become good friends with Nate Burleson, Calvin Johnson, and I knew that I could get them to wear the jacket and get a picture of them wearing it to even draw more hype. So I got them to wear the jacket, got a picture of it, and then you would say, hey, coming soon, coming soon. And one thing about people, right, and this is a free marketing tip, right? People always want something that they can't have right now.
Absolutely.
The anticipation of something.
Absolutely.
It's like, what do you mean I can't have it now? Wait, not only I need it now, I would give you $200 extra for it.
Just to get it now.
Just to get it now so I can be the first one with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I knew. I was like, oh, man, this is about to pop, right?
Right.
So I knew to give my boy Big Greg one from Hot 107.5. I knew to give Dr. Darius one. I knew to give DJ BJ one, my boy Cino one. So I would give all them jackets and they would post it up on there, right? And people would be mad that they got the jackets. Like, hold on, wait, I thought you said it was release date. How you doing this and doing that and doing this, right?
Mad.
And I was like, yes.
Yeah. I've been a witness.
It's about to.
Were you mad?
Right.
No, it's like how you get that?
Right.
That's mad.
Right. So
I don't know, man.
So I knew it was about to pop. I was like, oh, it's about to happen. And then it got so big on social media that the news came and did a story on it.
Really?
Man, what? And then what happened is this. So the night before, right, I was nervous. I was like, how about if this don't work, man? It's going to flop. Because then I started having doubts, right?
Because you had so many other
had so many disappointments, right? And then here I am with a new company trying to show out with them, getting everything going, right?
brand new designs,
right? Brand new everything. My rep, everything is on the line. No, this was 2 days I was doing this. The day before, every phone call, every hour, every I was about to cuss, every second, everything was about that jacket. What time? I can't buy it now. How much is the jacket? I'll give you an extra $200 if I can get the jacket right now. People blowing my cell phone up. How much for your man? Listen, though, I got $500 for it right now. I got to be the first one with it.
Gotta be.
Listen. When I got up that morning, right, I'm driving down Telegraph because we only released it at one store, right? We put all of our chips in, threw all the chips in. I said, we're going to have to do it because at that time, Rufford was the biggest store for Mr. Allen's. And I'm getting phone calls starting at 6 in the morning. Man, I ain't about to be in this long line, man. What dog?
How many jackets was that first run?
The first run was only 200. Only 200 jackets, right? That was it.
This is the first design.
This was the first design, 200 jackets.
Okay.
And that was a risk.
Okay.
So I knew something was up when I was looking at my phone and I was getting these text messages. I need 3 of them. Give me 4 of them. I need 3. Give me 2. Man, don't sell out them jackets, man. I just drove past there, man. It's a line wrapped around the building. So I pulls up into the parking lot. And they're not lying. It was a line wrapped around Mr. Allen's.
Absolutely.
And if you ever been to the one on Telegraph, right, you know how big that is.
Yeah, it's huge.
We had almost over 400 people out there in line.
So you did not have enough jackets.
Not even enough.
What was the feeling when you pulled up and seen all them people? Like
I was numb. I was like, and then people knew my truck. They was running, hey man, I know you got, man, come on dog, do this and all that. And they was like, this was bigger. No, well, this was up there with one of the Christmas Jordans released, as far as like hype and people and everybody involved in it, right? And let me tell you this, I knew we had something when I would go to social media and I see people saying, who he think he is, Michael Jordan?
Ooh, haters.
I was like, yes.
Perfect.
I was like,
haters.
I was like, oh, we got something.
What were like the boss's reactions? Like
they loved it. They
I know they loved it because you're bringing them in.
It was nonstop.
Bringing them in money,
not money, but attention.
Yeah, okay.
And during this time, we were in the midst of rebranding Mr. Allen's. So that's when the elite phase came. So where it was Mr. Allen's Elite, and this was. Other than a Jordan, this jacket was like $150. So this was a high ticket item for them to sell because you go from $29 or $2 for $50 to this.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. And if we would have had 1,000 jackets, we would have sold 1,000 jackets that day. So now that first year, I only released 3 jackets.
You only released 3 jackets.
It was a Lions, Pistons, and Red Wings.
I have a question about the jackets. You once said, and this is from a designer's question. You once said that the way an artist uses a brush and a canvas.
Y'all did y'all homework. I like this.
To create their art. You choose the needle and the apparel. How did you gravitate towards that? What made you go, oh yeah, this is it. This. Was it the first jacket that came out? Was it the people outside of the building? Or was it something deeper than that?
Well, it was deeper than that because I've always been into fashion. And I tell people all the time, before I was a creator, I was a consumer. And I still am a consumer. So, and this came about in the era where I think Jay-Z said in one of his raps, he said, you can't talk about it if you didn't live it.
True.
So we lived it. Like I said, I've been checked in for a starter jacket. I got checked in for one. So when I just pulled up in there, it was like everything just came full circle. It was like, you know what? Okay, what's next? So me being the fast thinker that I am, I went into our warehouse and I got the piston jacket because the piston jacket was going to be next, right?
Right.
And we was going to release the piston jacket maybe 3 weeks after this one. So I went in there and put it in the ceiling so they could see what's next. Man, give me that one. And because
you did it, you grabbed it. You are a marketing genius.
I went into the warehouse and see. I give the staff at Mr. Allen's the utmost respect, and because they didn't know what they was getting themselves into, and a lot of stuff was done reckless because when you got momentum. They wasn't used to having people come back into the warehouse grabbing stuff because everything was a tight ran ship inventory and things like that. So, I went in there and got the piston jacket. I said, yo, make sure y'all come back next month. We got this one dropping. No, man, I need it now. Oh, rah, right? So I did the marketing campaign for that. I got Joe Dumars to wear one. I got Isaiah Thomas to wear one. I got Rick Mahorn to wear one.
How are you knowing like all these like famous people?
Well,
how
because
did that come about?
Because of my brother Jalen Rose, right?
Oh, okay.
Who I went to Southwestern with, who I caught the Illinois bus with, and just by growing up with Jalen. So I would meet all these guys with Jalen. And one thing about me, right? I don't care how famous you think you are. You're not going to be famous in front of me. Just like the other day, right? Just like the other day, I was with Fat Joe and Jeezy. They did a book signing here at the Aretha. And it's just normal. Because to me, I think when you come to my city, I may not be under you, but I'm on this label. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, and we sitting there, we having conversations, and we talking, and we just... nobody intimidates me. Nobody. And I don't treat people like they're stars. Like the way I kick it with y'all is the way I kick it with all them. And they like that because they just want to be normal people at times too. So they adapt to me. And if the right people see you doing the right thing, they will help you.
Yeah.
They want to see you win.
Yeah.
They want to see you win. Maybe because if you win, you ain't got to ask them for nothing. But they want to see you win. So I've been blessed.
So how did that Mr. Allen's thing end stop?
So okay, so I was at Mr. Allen's from 2014 to 2019, right? And during that time, we rebranded the whole company, and underneath that, I think we opened maybe 20 more stores, and everything was an event with Mr. Allen's. Everything was an event. Everything was an event, and did I get some hate within? Maybe. Because
you got your name inside the jacket.
Because
you getting that extra check.
I'm getting that extra
methodically.
Yeah. I'm getting a couple extra checks, and you bonusing, you getting this, you getting that.
That's
so
really big hate inside the company.
So a lot of people there probably didn't like me, but I made it a lot easier for them too, because they started seeing pay raises because the store started doing good. Okay. And it's like, I remember one point in time too, that I was talking to a district manager, and he had a manager on the phone, right? And he was on speakerphone. I guess he forgot he was on speakerphone, right? And when he came back to the phone, it was like, man, who Ty think he is, man? He got his name all in these coats. And I heard them say this. I heard them, honest to God, on my mama's grave. And the district manager looked so shocked and embarrassed, but I couldn't say nothing because that was going to put the district manager on Front Street.
Right.
This manager said, man, who Ty think he is, man? He, who is this guy? He just come in here and do this. I've been here 20 plus years. And, that's the one thing. It's like, so I would get hate like that within. And I remember with the brothers, they will always say, do whatever you got to do. Just don't get us sued. Do whatever you got to do. Push the envelope, do whatever you got to do. Just don't get us sued. So you would see these events that I would do for Mr. Allen's. Like, come on, man. We was Mr. Allen. We was sponsoring the white parties. Mm-hmm. We was doing these events. We was headlining stuff, headlining concerts, doing things like this.
Just don't get us sued.
Just don't get us sued.
So now that takes me to when I came in there and met you inside of Mr. Allen's. Mm-hmm. And I come in there with my T-shirt line.
And I'm like,
yeah, I see these T-shirts out here, some Detroit T-shirts. Mm-hmm. That's when I meet Ty. Mm-hmm. And I lay I think it was like 3 shirts. Mm-hmm. And he told me, I think we can get it together for you, but we got to change. Mm-hmm. We got to change some of the stuff on there, because now I know. Mm-hmm. From the head up was like, just don't get us sued.
Right. So, but the one thing I've always been, right, where most people will be scared to talk to people because people wouldn't know how to talk to people, right? Oh no, we can't do with that, and then let you leave without explaining why.
Oh, but you gave me exactly what to do. Change this, this, and change this. Come back, and you got a deal.
Did you?
But by the time I came back, it was already set. Mm-hmm. Now, like, I think what bought Mr. Allen's?
So it was a company out of Germany that started acquiring a lot of U.S. stores, right? And one of the ones on their radar was Mr. Allen's. And I was a part of the process, right? And this is a lot of stuff that I used to have to hold in because I was in these couldn't discuss what's going on. Mm-hmm. But I knew the end for Mr. Allen's was coming because they was going to sell. And with the amount of money that this company was offering,
they was going to sell.
They was going to sell. And what I can honestly say is that they helped put me in the position to win with the sale. So I had a position with the company after the sale happens, mm-hmm. but I just decided not to take it because once again they wanted me to move to Philadelphia. And the money was great. The money was great. The signing bonus was incredible. Everything you could imagine. But I just didn't want to move to Philadelphia because then another thing they wanted me to stop doing was I couldn't do my starter stuff no more. And by this time, I have gained momentum on the side doing that. Where I knew what was coming down the pipeline with starter, and that was going to be great. So I resigned from Mr. Allen's while they still was Mr. Allen's, and I didn't accept the job to become vice president of marketing with that company, and and that's how it ended. So it wasn't on no they came in and everybody got fired. No. The one thing I can say is that they really placed people where people didn't get affected by the sale.
Okay.
Some did, but it was hard going around people that I knew that's been there maybe 20, 25 years, 30 years. And I knew that the end was probably going to be near for them. And it's nothing that I could say. Like I would go home with headaches because the one thing I don't want to do is see people lose their job or because it became like a family element there. Because you got all these people, you got a couple hundred employees.
Right.
It's some type of camaraderie there. So it's like, but yeah, that was probably the most stressful with the sale, when Mr. Allen's was bought.
So now you just go full time with starter.
Now I go full time with starter, but wait, because this was 2019.
Okay.
This was like July of 2019. So I went full head on force with starter. I was in New York a lot, in the showroom, in the office, and things like that. So I was damn near a New Yorker. And then we all know what happened in March of 2020.
The pandemic. So with that, right, we didn't know what was going to happen with the world and everything like that. So you talk about a 2-month hiatus from doing things because wasn't nobody interested in about buying stuff. They didn't know what was going on until them stimulus came.
The stimmies.
So that right there blew it up tremendously. So now when companies found out that I left Mr. Allen's, right, it was like a free agent frenzy. You name a store,
They called
me. I don't care how small they was or how big they was. They called me because they knew that I had the formula.
Out on the street.
Word was out.
agent.
Word was out.
You was in New York.
I was in New York. Yeah. Well, no. I was. Yeah. So from the end of 19 to like the maybe January or February, I was in New York. You know, pandemic, I was home. Like everybody else, I was home.
Are you still creating jackets through all of this?
Oh, what? Yes. But we didn't know. So during that time, right, I'm talking with other stores, right? Big stores. And I felt at that time the right place for me to go was Footlocker. Because we didn't know what was going to happen. But them stimulus came out there and people was risking it all, spending that money.
At all.
So I was like, you know what? Now is the time. Let's see what Footlocker talking about. And now the brand is exclusively sold at Footlocker. And Footlocker never seen nothing like this neither.
So who put that deal together? You walked in and put the deal together?
I put the deal together with
yourself?
Footlocker. Yeah. So I had help, right? Shout out to my boy Marcus and all that. So they was talking with the people at Footlocker. Yo, Ty ain't with nobody, man. We need to capitalize. We need to get with Ty. We need to do this. And at one point, Footlocker wanted to bring me in as a consultant, and I was like, nah, I'm not doing that right now, because the jackets are just doing so great that I don't need to do that right now. So that's when we structured a deal where it's like, listen, let's just do the jackets and let's just keep the momentum going with that. And it's been nonstop ever since. So now with that, Footlocker helped me gain a national attention. So now it's just not Detroit. Now we're in Chicago, LA, Atlanta, Philly, New York, Miami. We're doing all this stuff, right? And it's just bigger than life right now with Footlocker. And now I may drop little jewels and trinkets at different stores and all that, but right now the home base for it is Footlocker, and they've been a great partner.
So Detroit is like very well known for the starter jacket, right?
Right.
These other items that you got, this starter shoe right here, how does that do in Detroit?
Well,
I know you got you're nationwide now,
right?
So is it selling more in other states? Like, where is these shoes being sold at?
Well, the great thing about that, Clay, is that we don't make a lot of them.
Okay.
And so what we like to do, and just like in anybody in business, the main thing you want to do is
the test market.
You want to test market, and you want to get the data for it,
right?
And you want to see where your core audience is at. So I know, and I've been blessed because I've always held Detroit down, always held it down. So, of course, I know me putting something in Detroit is going to be successful. So when we drop this, when we drop Pony, when I do things like that, we kind of put it on .com first, just so we can see the reach and we can see where it goes.
Now we're going over here to Pony. This is a whole different company, right?
Well, yes.
Or is it a subsidiary of Starter?
So this is how this happens. So this is how when it comes to, like I said, this is another episode we could talk about. This is when the license game comes. So Starter is a licensee, and Starter Footwear is a licensee from a company called Genesco. So Genesco owns Journeys. They own Johnson and Murphy. They own a lot of they partners with Levi Footwear and things like that too. So when the footwear part came about, they also have the license for Pony.
Okay.
So when that opportunity came, it's like, yo, I need in on that too.
Yeah.
I'll do this, but I need in on that
especially
as well too.
Coming from Detroit.
Especially coming from Detroit.
Pony was a shoe, like we got Tommy Hearns used to wear these shoes, right?
Everybody used to wear them. Everybody
used to box in these.
And we all know 7 Mile Murray Hill.
Yes.
We
Pony
all know.
down.
Okay. You said that, not me.
I didn't.
Okay. So
okay. Pony down.
There you go. There you go. So
boy.
so once again, when you dealing with heritage,
right,
it's easy to develop it and put it out because it's already an emotion with it.
How do you do that? I wanted to ask you, because you said culture, heritage is more important than culture.
Yeah, because culture is temporary.
Right. And so
heritage is forever.
How do you make sure that there's a little bit of Detroit heritage in each one of your designs?
So I'm glad you said that. So every time I do something, I tell a story. I just don't say, hey, here go for the 18th time in a row, here go a Detroit Piston jacket.
Right.
Every time I do something, I tell a story with it. So I have a great relationship with the Detroit Pistons as well, too. So I do releases with them too. So so with Pony, we know that back in the day when we came up, Pony was known in the streets, but it also was known in sports. And one of the most iconic people to ever wear Pony was Thomas Hitman's Hearns. So what I wanted to do was, when we released this and when we tell the story of this, I said, you know what? I got to do a story with Tommy Hearns, and I need him to tell me about the history of Pony in Detroit when it came to boxing. And then two, it came up
with
over
here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And so also it comes up with Pony when you think about football and baseball, because all of the famous athletes wore Pony. So we did a documentary, and we got everything going with that. And I just wanted to tell the story with that. Shout out to Big Hood and everybody that came in and filmed the documentary, 6K, all them, and we got Tommy Hearns to come in, and he did a great job. Clay was there; he witnessed it, and I can't wait for that to drop. So be on the lookout for that to drop soon when we release product and all that. So that's one thing about me. It's like when I release product, I just don't say aha. I tell a great story with
It's
it.
a story behind it.
It's a story behind it, and that makes you want to buy it even more because it gives you goosebumps. Like I said, the one thing that I like to create, I don't like to create just product. I like to create collector's items. So
Nice.
that's why when you see people and they come up to me and they open their jacket up so they can see the name inside the jacket. So it makes them feel like they got a part of history as well too. So when I say culture is temporary, because 99% of culture never gets repeated. Everything you see now revolves around heritage. Whether it's the new music you hear on the radio, it's a sample from the music they used back in the day.
True.
So heritage never plays out. Heritage is forever. Culture is temporary.
Ty, is this something that you came up with yourself, or learned from a mentor
About what?
about heritage?
No,
Or
it's
is
just
this your
This
thing?
me. This
you.
me.
This
This
all
me.
you.
I mean, like I said before, Jay-Z said you can't talk about it if you ain't live it. I live this. I know what I had to do to get money up to buy gym shoes and clothes. And, we come from an era of nanny goats, jingle boots, kangaroo boots, sheepskin, nanny goats, all that stuff. So the one thing about Detroit been getting fresh forever.
Mm-hmm.
Forever.
No doubt.
Forever. To me, Detroit is the best dressed city in America
No doubt.
because we will go all out to showcase what we got. And I've been blessed to travel this world and represent this city, because when you hear of fashion, right, all you hear about is New York, LA, and sometimes even Chicago. And I'm like, no disrespect.
But Detroit,
No disrespect.
Yeah, put us on the map too.
See what I'm saying?
there, too.
Because last time I checked, half of the world is saying "what up, though" now, right?
Yeah.
And where that come from? Okay, half of the people in the world now are wearing Cardis, right? Where that come from? And even before then, right? We was the hair capital of the world.
Mm-hmm.
We was the gator capital of the world. We have always set a trend, right? We have always set a trend here in Detroit.
let them know.
But we always get laughed at from the outside. Like I would go into meetings and all that, and we would get called country. We get called because they didn't know. And now I'm actually blessed that I can see Detroit evolved in every category in the world right now. Far as our music, far as our dress, far as television and film and movies, far as all that, right? Detroit is the capital of all that now.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And for a while, I was the only one carrying that flag. I'm like, hey, Detroit. And they be like, boo, get off the stage. Now Detroit on the stage.
On the stage.
And everybody is copying Detroit
Yeah.
Everybody.
What do you attribute that to?
because of who we are, man.
What sparked it? Do you think that the BMF movie sparked it all of a sudden?
No.
Like what all of a sudden sparked?
Because one thing about people, when they come to Detroit, they get infected of our hustle and our style and the way we walk, talk, and dress.
Yeah.
All somebody got to do is come to Detroit and be here 2 days, and guess what? They say Detroit is my second home.
Yeah.
You think we got what is that called? An accent. My homeboy who was born and
I hear
raised
that a
here
lot. I hear that a lot,
moved
but
out
we don't.
to-
We don't.
Thank you.
We don't.
But
We
he
don't.
says to do. He moved back. He went to Atlanta. Came back talking about he can hear it.
Well, that's
and
the
I
wrong
was so
thing because
disappointed.
that's the wrong thing. That's the wrong city to compare us to.
That he didn't compare, but I know.
No,
what
no.
you're
As
saying.
far as accent wise,
oh, true.
because that's a southern slang, so it's a southern tang. But us, no, man, no.
You know, Ty, we looking at these shoes and stuff. It was another company that you worked closely with, which was that I forgot all about. Like one of the main iconic shoes that Detroit is built on was the Adidas Top 10. Tell me a little bit about how did you get hooked up with Adidas, and how did that work out?
So
you?
that was during my stint when I was at Mr. Allen's, right? So we wanted to, I wanted to create something because the 40th anniversary of the Top 10 was coming.
Right.
So that was in 2019, and because it came out in 1979. So I had a whole story that I wanted to tell about it, and we told it. we did a release at the Motown Museum. We still one of the first people to ever throw a party at the Motown Museum. A sneaker, well, gym shoe, because in Detroit we say gym shoes. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing. See, that's what I say about the different ways of the culture and all that too. Because on the East Coast and South they call them sneakers, but we call them gym shoes.
Do they call it soda?
Yeah, they call it soda. We call it pop.
Yeah, it's pop.
You know, but in Atlanta everything is Coca-Cola.
All pop is Coca-Cola.
All pop is Coca-Cola. All pop is Coca-Cola.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah.
So go to the store and get me a Coke. Does not
get me
mean
a Coke. No.
Get me a Coke.
Especially if they know what you're drinking. That means you come back. You come back with an orange Fanta. Go get me a Coca-Cola. Yeah. No, I'm telling you. So I inked the deal with Adidas, right?
Right.
So we done some things with Adidas, and this was before the sale of Mr. Allen's. So like I said, I can never, ever say anything bad about Mr. Allen's, right? Because they gave me an opportunity to grow and go above took me to places where I never thought I would be nationally, where now I'm getting awards in New York, I'm getting awards in LA. And sometimes I feel like Detroit forget about me. I do, because you get recognized in all these other cities, but I'm like, damn, I put on for this city more than anybody.
Right.
More than anybody. My shoulders are bruised from carrying that Detroit flag all those years. And it's like you see people come in and get stuff from, and I'm like, man, they're not even from here.
Right.
But that's cool. The real no. And that's that, and that's all you can say. So like I was just honored in New York a couple weeks ago for the 50th anniversary of hip hop, of doing stuff with Starter.
Nice.
And I'm in New York. You know, you go there and like, oh, Ty this, Ty that. But I still put on for my city. I love my city. Because I tell people all the time, it's two Detroits. It's the social media Detroit and it's the real Detroit.
Oh.
The real Detroit loves me. Social media Detroit, they tolerate me. But the real Detroit, where I can go on Grand River and Greenfield, where I'm at now, or I can go on Mac, I can go on Warren and Connor. Ty, what? Keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing. One thing about me, man, I'm not big on awards. I'm not. I was always taught a pat on the back is only inches from a kick in the ass anyway. So don't look for the pat on the back.
Stop.
Another
Never
one.
heard that.
Whoa, it's the truth.
Game givers.
It's the truth. So, you know, with Adidas, we talking about Adidas, right?
Yeah.
You see how I'm trying to go around it, right?
I know you're trying to go around it, but you know I'm going to hit you with Adidas because that didn't really end too cool with Adidas.
Well,
and you want to get into that and explain it a little bit?
Yeah, what is he going around?
Well,
I'll let him tell.
All right, we're about to go to it now. So,
what happened?
They try to be slick and steal some of my designs because they found out that Mr. Allen's was being sold. So they figured that everything was free game. And they came out with a shoe that I created, right? And then involved me in it. And then when I found them with their hand in the cookie jar, they try to play me like I'm dummy and say, well, okay, we're going to put it out and we'll give you 25 pair.
Of my shoe?
Of my shoe.
You didn't like that.
What?
You was like,
I was ready to get on a plane.
It's war, Clay. It's war, Clay.
I came up
my
here.
Shoe.
I said, oh, y'all serious, right? I'm getting ready to book a trip to Portland, Oregon, and the way how Ice Cube went inside Ruthless Records and tore up Ruthless Records
with the bat,
me and 50 people was about to get on the plane and go to Portland, Oregon, and tear up Adidas for doing that.
How did you find out?
Somebody called me, a retailer called me like, oh man, I'm so geeked, dog. We're gonna be selling your shoes.
You like, what shoe?
I said, what shoe? And he showed me the catalog with my shoe in it.
And this is undoubtedly your design. This is yours.
Dog, they pulled a Kanye on me before Kanye.
Now the shoes prior that you had designed for Adidas, they were branded with the Ty Mopkins
Clay,
logo.
you saw the sample. I brought the sample up here.
On it.
Yeah, listen. I brought the sample up here and showed Clay.
Yes, he did.
I said,
yeah.
Oh, and what they did was, right, so it was a black and orange patent leather top 10, right? I was going to do it for the bad boy, right?
Man, so tell me about it.
And so I had a 1989 on the shoe, right? So they took the 1989 off and put 313 on there. And I'm like, y'all still, oh, Ty, man, something we could work out, ain't it? Yeah, we going to do it this way, and this the marketing plan I need, and this is the amount of money I need. How many shoes y'all trying to put into the market? Oh, y'all trying to put 5,000 pair into the market? Well, I went to the great Detroit Southwestern High School. We know math, and I'm from the streets. I know math.
So all this was done like on a handshake. It wasn't no paperwork.
It was none of that because they did it back door. The only time lawyers was called.
Just be quiet.
The only time lawyers was called when I said, okay, bet. Y'all want to do that? I'm about to go do this. And that's when I came out with what I came out with. And I'm not going to say what it was, but
yeah, just keep that on the hush.
Right. We went straight out of Compton.
Yeah.
So, and it was back and forth for a while, but everything cool now, man. The people who did that is long gone from Adidas, and Adidas is always going to have a special place in my heart, but not the people that did that to me. Yeah. So, yeah. So that was we about to book a flight. We about to run up in here, and we about that's what we gonna. Cause don't get me wrong, now I'm one of the nicest, humblest. But I'm still from Roselawn. I'm still, and that's what I
twisted.
And that's what I tell people all the time. I'm still from Roselawn.
Speaking of Roselawn, we got this wine right here sitting on the table.
Is that where the Roselawn comes from?
Roselawn is the street you grew up. Now you went from shoes now to
we in the spirit game.
We in the spirit game.
We in the spirit game.
You got wine, I think a couple of liquors coming out.
Vodka, champagne.
Mm-hmm. You did a party where you just introduced a new champagne. What is that called?
Motu VJ.
Motu V.
Dope, Motu VJ,
yeah, that's a pretty good spirit right there. That had me feeling really good.
I feel like I just saw this in the commercial somewhere or something.
Actually,
well, shout out to Moolah Film, shout out to my boy Cino.
Yeah.
Shout out to Murder, so
it was sitting on the table. I just saw that.
It's gonna be in McGraw Ave.
Okay. Shout out to Walmart. That was you had this in Walmart, right?
Hopefully in Walmart. It was Meyer.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I take that back now.
Meyer. So this how this happens, right? This how this happened. And shout out to my boy Skrill, because Skrill really put this deal together for me. So Motu VJ was already an established minority-owned company in Grand Rapids, and they already had a movement going. They already had the champagne, they already had the vodka, and they already had a wine catered to ladies called Eye Candy, right? And so I was talking with Skrill one day, and I was like, yo, man, I love what they doing, man. They killing it and all that. But I said, I got a dream. I want to do a wine, right? Because the older I get now, I really don't drink hard liquor like that no more. Mm-hmm. I can't.
Yeah, me.
I can't. If I do a couple of shots, I'm shut down for 5 days.
It's over.
Like 1, 2,
I'm done.
3.
Like I can't recover. I can't. So now it's to the stage where I just started drinking wine every now and then. And
you're good off wine.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good off of that, right? So, I was telling Skrill, I said, listen, I want to do something, right? Because now I'm going to these corporate events and everything is flowing, right? But nothing looks like us flowing, meaning nothing minority owned, nothing black owned, nothing like that. So how do I change this game, and how do I create a avenue and something where we can get into the spirits game? And then that's when Skrill's like, oh, man, I just linked up with these guys out of Grand Rapids, man. Jonathan, Willie, Jamil, all these guys. So these guys did something for me that they didn't have to. They had a seat for me at their table because they already had a movement going, right? And it was just a perfect fit for me to come in and do this. So I said, listen, I want to do a wine, right? And I want to do something semi-sweet. I don't do dry wine. I don't like dry wine. So I remember that during the tasting, right, you got to learn about the grapes. You got to learn about how it breathes. When people do the glass like this, you got to let the wine breathe and things like that. So you really had to go to classes for this because you had to learn, right? Because If my name attached to it, I already know I'm getting asked 30 or 40 questions.
I know what you're talking about.
Because I'm going to tell you a true story about this. This happened. No lie. This had to be 98 or 99. And we're at the Magic Show in Las Vegas. And this is during the time where rockaware started taking off, right? So I'm sitting there, right? And this is when I was in the jewelry. So, you know, I had the necklace, the earrings. I had a Rolex on. I had basic Rolex. And we sitting there, we trying to get the rockaware line. So Dame Dash there. And he came, sat down next to me. And he said, yo, what kind of guts you got in that movement? And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What kind of guts you got in that? Dog. For one, pause. Right? He was like, huh? I said, no, you watch. You watch. Well, what's the movement? What's the guts in there?
You knew what he meant?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So what's the movement? What's the guts in there? What, you know? And I'm like, oh, man, it's a Rolly. He said.
There's more to it than just that.
He said, I get that, but what model is it? What year is it? Mm-hmm. What's the movement on it?
You had none of that for him.
None of that. I just thought it was a Rolex. And that's when he said, yo, he said, I'm going to put you up on game. He said, I understand. He said, but when you go into these Fortune 500 companies and these meetings and all that, and they see you wearing this, they're going to quiz you on that. They're going to quiz you on three things, right? They're going to quiz you on your watch, your cigar, and what you drink. He said, do you smoke cigars? I said, no. He said, good. He said, what do you drink? I said, at that time, it was Grey Goose. He was like, okay, so what do you know about vodka?
Run that back one more time. When you step into a Fortune 500
company, right, and you're really in these conversations, right, the one thing the conversation is the most about, watch, cigar,
my cigar,
and what you drink.
And what I drink.
What you drink. Yeah, because all those are conversations.
I need to be knowledgeable on all three.
On all three of those. And I didn't wear a Rolex after that. I didn't. And I don't wear jewelry ever since then. Because half the people that wear jewelry and all this stuff, they can't tell you about the grade or what the diamond is and all that. Half the people that wear these iced out Rolex, really, you depreciate the value of a Rolex when you put diamonds in it.
Yes.
You do. If it's not factory set, if you took it to a jeweler and they iced you out, they really deprived you of what it really was.
It's kind of like buying a classic car and like slapping a whole bunch of like rims and stuff on it. You depreciate the value of the car.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Along this journey, I just learned so much, right? And when I started doing this wine, what Damon Dash told me just played a lot. And you know, I know Dame had a lot of conversations with people like that, so he probably wouldn't even remember what he told me, but it stuck out with me. And I knew that when we started this wine company, like, my wife and my daughter are like wine drinkers. So they did most of the testing. They did most of the curation of what they like and things like that. So we went with this pineapple rosé blend. And that's what caused Roselawn. And now it has taken on a life of its own because of the marketing that I've done and everything that coincide into it. Because now it's like, you know, I got other ventures that I'm going to be announcing soon that I'm going to be doing. So I learned this from like 50 and Jay and everybody else. You got to have more than one revenue, one or more lanes. So you'll see Pony, you'll see Starter, you'll see Roselawn, you'll see Motu VJ, you'll see the stuff I'm going to be announcing soon, film, television. You'll see all that stuff coming, right? And I used to always say, you know, that's too much. I got too much on my plate, right?
Yeah.
But then I heard somebody say something one day that was like, don't ever complain about how much is on your plate when you prayed to God for you to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's like, okay, I just got to find a way to do it. So they picked the flavor and I tasted. I was okay, yeah, we roll with that. So now we picked up in Meyer. Actually, I'm doing a bottle signing this Saturday at the Myers on Jefferson at the Riverview Market. And thank God, every time we do a bottle signing, we sell out. You know, for some reason, people want to come see me. Some people, you know, for some reason, people want to come see me. So, you know, we sign bottles, we get everything going, and yeah, man, yeah. So, you know, shout out to Motu VJ. You know, them brothers really accepted me and made me a part of their family when they didn't have to. So I will always respect them for that, because they had a seat at their table for me that they didn't have to that they didn't have to pull the seat back for me.
Right.
So, you know, we do a lot of stuff with that. We'll be at Meyer. And yeah, shout out to Motu VJ, all the partners that's over there, man. I appreciate them, man, from the bottom of my heart, because they gave me another lane to travel down, and you know, and I help market at well with that too, because if you want Roselawn, then you got to come get eye candy.
Right.
Then if you want eye candy, you got to come get the Motu VJ Brute. Then you got to get the Avante Vodka. It's all a method in what we do here. You know, we just don't move one. We move. You want one, you got to take all four of us.
Well,
yeah.
There you have it in a nutshell. Everybody know who Ty Mopkins is.
No,
now.
I'm just Ty, man.
He's just Ty.
Just Ty.
Ty doing it all, right?
I'm just Ty.
You got the vodka, the shoes.
Wait, it's almost
brand
over with?
ambassador.
It's almost. I'm telling you.
We been ran over that. We been ran over that.
Ty
Really?
ready to talk.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ty ready to talk. I got.
We been
He
ran
like,
over
well,
that.
I need to talk some
Right,
more.
man. We ain't even
Wait,
touch
hold
on. Right.
Listen, we coming back.
We ain't touch on the shootout or nothing like that. No, I'm playing. I'm playing.
We got to come back. We got to come back.
I told you.
I got to ask you some more about, you know, the bag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I told you this is a 5-parter right here.
This got to be this is part one.
This got to be part one.
We might even break this up into 2 parts.
No,
so I don't know how far we went,
No.
but we might have to ask. But yeah, Ty, as always.
Shout out Bun. What up, Bun B? Check back in. Because I'm on my live too.
It was a pleasure having you, man.
Y'all
Thanks
should.
for coming
We
by.
can't keep going.
We can. We gonna.
They tired. They tired. They gotta get home.
Well, I wanted to ask him one more question.
Actually, go ahead.
It was just one more question, because
Okay.
Ty, you do a lot. Everything from the shoes to the spirits, to
Right.
the starter jackets, your style, everything. You when they say it's Ty Mopkins and you say it's just Ty,
Just Ty.
you had said that you're not a influencer. You know, you just make stuff that you wish was already made.
I tell people all the time, I'm not an influencer. I'm a hustler. Hustlers
Not
get
an
it done.
influencer,
I'm not an influencer. I just create the SHIT
That you wish was
made. That's all.
and this and all the stuff that you make. How do you, and especially in the industry of copying and you know the repetitiveness, you know, gimmicks, things like that.
Right.
How do you stay original?
Because I draw.
Straight up.
I draw and they trace.
Straight
I
up.
tell people all the time, it's the difference, because I draw and they trace. You can tell who trace. But we live in an era now where the tracer get more notoriety than the actual drawer. And I'm just me, man. I'm just from the 12,000 block of Roselawn. I give back. I do it very humbly. I don't make posts of, hey, I just fed this unfortunate person. I just do it, and I keep going. And that comes from my mom.
Ty, you call me from Magic like Clay. Man, hey. They out here on some garbage, man. I'm coming hard. I'm about to do this, Clay.
And you know what, too? Sometimes I need to get smacked in the face sometimes, too, right? What I mean by that, when I think I done it all, somebody else comes along and do it better. And lately, the only person I've seen that I would ever bow down to, right, and say they killing it, is Mia Ray and Glamaholics. She is on a whole other planet. That's the GOAT. That's the GOAT right now. And if anybody know who Mia Ray is and Glamaholics lifestyle, she's killing it. She has made me go back to the drawing board several times when it comes to marketing. And I thought I had it all together. I done fired so many people.
I would like to have you back and talk about marketing.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
If that's okay for another conversation.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right, Mr. Ty.
All right, Mr. Ty Mopkins.
You sure y'all don't want to keep going?
They literally won't let us.
In case of emergency.
In case of emergency.
Case of emergency. Thank you so much.
Throw this
Ty.
hat. You came up with that one.
For real.
No, I didn't. That wasn't me.
That was you.
Boogie.
Ty, do you have any social medias or any way people can get in contact with you?
Oh yeah, they know that one.
Man, y'all gotta get Boogie on camera, man. He be sitting over here, man. Y'all gotta put the camera on him one time, man.
I think he was on it twice.
He the MVP of it. So anything is it's just Ty Mopkins. TYMOPKINS. That's on everything. That's on Instagram, Facebook. What Twitter is called what now?
X.
I'm on Black Planet. I'm on Christian Mingle. I'm on
Farmers Only.
You can even Google me. All that.
You are listening to CYPT Podcast. You are listening to CYPT Podcast. You are listening to CYPT Podcast. CYPT Podcast. CYPT Podcast. You are listening.